it's me, Brandy, and welcome back to Astro Tarot Research. I'm super excited for today's reading. This week's reading is Who Finds You Irresistible. We have 5 piles to choose from, but before we get started, I do want to remind you to like, comment, and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the bell to stay notified. And if you want to keep up with me, then you can follow me on Instagram at Astro_Tarot Research, where I post tarot and astrological insights. And if you want a private reading with me, then that link is in the description bar below. So let us get into these piles. We have pile number 1, pile number 2, pile number 3, pile number 4, and pile number 5. So just sit back, relax, and choose. Hey, pile number 1, let's get started on Who Finds You Irresistible, and we're going to get into why as well. We have the Chariot and the 4 of Wands, the 8 of Pentacles, the Hermit, the 5 of Cups, and Mercury Mind. Okay, so whoever this person is, they seem to be of a positive mindset, and they're also pretty much a go-getter. When we have the Chariot here, and it connects to, you know, victory, strive, perseverance, we know this is somebody who just really doesn't give up easy. When they set their mind to something, they go for it. As well as when we have the 4 of Wands, this could just be saying this person is either family oriented, they like to go out, they like to have fun, they're very sociable, they like to party. That's another thing, especially with Chariot, as it represents the sign of Cancer. Not saying Cancers like to go party, but in Vedic astrology there's a certain placement, and I've seen Pusha people tend to attract a lot of people and be very popular. I think it was Claire Nocti said one of the she found it was like one of the most popular placements for moon sign for women, so they tend to be very like desirable. A lot of people have them. I've also seen it for sun sign, as well as I know there was a study once on like OkCupid, and they had like the most popular people, and one of the most popular, or the most popular woman on OkCupid, she had her son in Pusha. So that's why I say this person's probably very sociable, or they're going to attract a lot of people, because that's what the placement Pusha will do. It's going to bring a lot of people in. If we want to describe why this person is interested, it's pretty obvious. They really admire your intellect, and they admire your wisdom, your insights, your perspective. They really just feel like you have a way with thoughts, words. You always say very either important things or insightful things. That's the way this person perceives you. They perceive you as somebody who does a lot of reflecting and spends a lot of time really piecing together what it is that they're going to say. As well as when we have Mercury and we have the 8 of Pentacles, when that comes together, it makes me think that somebody's very good at their craft. Like somebody who just really takes their time, goes into the details, goes into the fine print, reads every little thing, and just really has a knack for whatever it is that they do. So I don't know what specifically it is that you are great at. Maybe it's just saying that you're great at the art of conversation. Possibly it's saying that you have a knack for, you know, it could be anything, style, it could be design, it could be fixing things. Sometimes I get that for that. You could be in school, and it could be like you have a knack for your major, or you could have already graduated and something you got your degree in, or something that you specialize in. This person really admires you for the work that you put in. So they really like your work ethic, and they really like your intelligence. So that's really what's drawing them in. This might be more of like a sapiosexual type of person who's finding you very desirable. Another thing with the Hermit, I always get this card along with the 8 of Pentacles to represent somebody who's like very humble. Like you don't come off extremely glamorous. This is a card that's more like an everyday sort of man or woman. You may catch them like, this gives me like sweatpants, like sport shirts, leggings kind of like vibe with the Hermit. Like they're not really doing too much. I haven't seen, at least the cards described to me and how they communicate to me, they have never come to me to represent somebody who is dressed to the nines when it's the Hermit. It's always somebody who's a little bit more laid back and casual. So they will like that. They like that you present yourself in a more casual manner, especially given your intellect and your insight and your skill level. So they see you as somebody who's like highly skilled at something. Mercury, I always get to represent mastery and self-awareness and insight. It's somebody who takes the, what's the word I'm looking, it's not, it is a kind of like a broad perspective in a sense. It's weird because when you first start studying astrology, you kind of see Jupiter as like the broad picture and Mercury as like the little details. But when actuality, Mercury does take in the broad picture as well as the little details. It's a placement that is representative of complete mastery of yourself and your creativity. So this person sees you as somebody who is very creative and somebody who is very much an individual and who has a lot of high intelligence. Like that's really important for them. I don't know how to emphasize that enough, okay? With the Five of Cups here, for one of the reasons that they kind of find you very desirable is maybe there's a little bit of like, I don't know, maybe they like a little bit of a sadness or like a mystery to it. I don't know why they would like you to be sad, but I'm trying to think why would they interpret it this way? What are the cards trying to communicate? What I'm getting here is they like your ability to empathize with other people's struggles, as well as they'll probably like the fact that you have learned from your own struggles and you appreciate the value of the past and the loss it is that the things that we lose as we move forward in time, which is another connection when it comes to Mercury, because in Vedic astrology, Mercury rules over Ardra, which is in Gemini, and Ardra connects to homesickness and thinking about the past and realizing that you can't get those moments back. So they like that you have a strong appreciation for what is now and what is gone, okay? If that makes a lot of sense. They like that you have a strong appreciation for the past and those memories and old songs and music, if you like those things, or if you just like have an interest in anything that would be of an older style, anything that would be like of a throwback. So that would be something that would draw this person into you, that would really excite them. They love those things about you. Another thing with Mercury is it does tie to youthfulness, and as well as I always see when I look up movies and music and anything about somebody like Revati, it has to do with sexuality as well as beauty. That is one of the themes, beauty and youthfulness. So that's something that they're going to like about you. For them, you appear to be, I guess, very, very nice to look at, very youthful, okay? So that's something that's going to draw them in as well. And then it can also mean that they feel like maybe you take care of your appearance in that way as well. It's not the strongest theme here, but I just want to make note of that because it can be important for some people. So I hope this clarifies a lot of what's going on here. This person is very upfront. They probably even said some things to you, or they've made clear their intentions. With the Chariot here, it's not really a shy card. So it would be very interesting to me if this person hadn't made themselves clear. I don't know if they've outright said it, because when I get the sign of Cancer, they usually communicate through body language. But it should be clear by now in some shape or form that this person really finds you irresistible and loves to be around you. So that's what I have for you, pile number one. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. You seem like an incredible person. It seems like this person genuinely likes you for who you are, which is wonderful, okay? I hope you feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and au revoir. Hey, pile number two, let us get started on who finds you irresistible. We have the Eight of Pentacles, the Wheel of Fortune, the Ace of Pentacles, the Emperor, Saturn return, and the Five of Pentacles. So who finds you irresistible is somebody who is very, very skilled, very crafty, as well as somebody, this can describe somebody who's just generally notices small details about people, and they're probably going to be very particular about how they present themselves as well. This is the type of person who's going to ask, like, what do you think of, you know, their shirt, their pants. They're just going to be very thoughtful on how it is that they put themselves out there, okay? This is not someone who is going to, gosh, what's the word? They're not going to be someone who doesn't put thought into how they move in the world, okay? So this isn't like a thoughtless person. They're not like an airhead or anything like that. With the Wheel of Fortune here, we do have someone who is going to be very giving, as well as they're going to be somebody who is probably very, very good at their job. That's probably the most important thing you would notice about them that comes off very very easily seen. Like, that's something, a quality that people notice about them. They're good at networking, they're very professional, as well as they have a lot of opportunities and connections. This is also somebody who will, they're not very spontaneous. The Wheel of Fortune is a symbol for change, but you have to keep in mind it is a wheel, and wheels go round and round and round and round. So this is a person who's going to be very habitual, okay? So it's just a person who sticks to a routine. They're not someone who's like, oh, let's go to this store, let's go to this market, let's go to this restaurant. They're like, no, I like this place, I like the food here. They may order the same thing at the same place. They're like, oh, I like this hamburger, I like this steak, I like this fries, you know what I mean? Like, they stick to what they know with the wheel, and it takes a lot of effort to get them to try something different, but when they do, obviously they learn and grow from it. One thing I do have for this person is that we have someone who may have a hard time saying no to others. They just want to lend a helping hand. That's something that is a quality that will really stand out for them, or at least for you when you see them. They're always willing to offer help whenever you need it, or say yes if you ask them. If you need help with something or need a ride or something like that, they're just a willing, open person in that manner. Okay. What they like about you and like why they find you like so is irresistible and attractive and everything. With the Emperor here, I always get this card to mean somebody is very independent, as well as there's somebody who is in the process of just being their own person. Like, they're really focused on being true to themselves and creating their own way in life. Like, whether that is like you starting your business, whether that's you, it doesn't even have to be like career oriented. It's just a matter of forming your own thoughts and your opinions about things, not just like following the crowd. This is not about being a sheep. So the Emperor connects to the planet Mars, really, and I guess the sign of Aries. And if you go back even further, then the Emperor connects to Jupiter in the older tarot interpretation. So we have two connections to Jupiter. And what we have here is someone who really wants to not only do the right thing for themselves, but they want to do the right thing for other people. And there's a sense of wanting to give back to other people and give back to the community and people around them. That is what both of these cards have around them. But if we have in common. But if we take this to mean a meaning where we're just focusing on the Mars sort of influence of this card, then we're focusing on somebody who's just going to be a person who makes their own rules, and they're going to decide whether something is right or wrong, or what fits them and what doesn't fit them. That's the thing about Aries and why it's called I Am, and why it's the first sign. It's like what you like, what you see, what you can relate to, how you feel, etc. Like, for example, you could look to the mass media and you can look at beauty standards. So in the mass media, there's a certain beauty standard that is pushed for everyone, and this is supposed to be deemed attractive. Currently, I would say the beauty standards for women is usually like going to be a little bit more curvy, going to be a little bit more bottom heavy. Sometimes top heavy has always kind of been in, and usually going to have like a flat stomach. It's something like that. Lighter skin is usually like super pushed in the media as well. So those are things that the media is going to push. With Aries, it's going to decide, I have my own preferences, I have my own things that I like, and I don't necessarily agree for that to be attractive, or for that to be the most attractive, or something like that. So it's all about a sense of individuality. So this person's about doing their own thing, forming their own opinions, and as well as taking care of other people. That's another thing I've noticed when studying Aries energy as it connects to Vedic astrology. So Aries energy, what I've noticed about them is that they're very like aggressive. So that could be something that they like about you. They may like that you're very like opinionated and you speak your mind, and you make more aggressive moves, and you're just like, I'm gonna do this and nothing's gonna stop me. So in Vedic astrology, as I was saying, I've noticed a pattern where Aries people will really, really push forward, especially in Ashwini. And it's such a incredible thing that they manage to do. They'll manage to go from like, you give them just nothing. Like they can start with nothing and they just build an empire in a couple of years. And it's not a thing that a lot of placements can do. And I can see why the sun is exalted in Ashwini, because it's just pure willpower, and it's so determined to get what they want by any means, okay? For some people, not all Aries. Some Aries people will obviously take a more moral route. So it's like get by they want and nothing's stopping them. Not by any means for those type of Aries. They're like, I want to be a person who gets what I need. So they see you as being like this force of unstoppable force in a way. They just see you as very ambitious, and you're not letting anyone sort of stand in your path to success. With the Ace of Pentacles here, I get this card to obviously mean the easiest connection is money. So I don't think they're just going to say, oh, I like this person because they got money. It's probably more so like I like them because they have principles and they have morals, because that is what the Pentacles connect to. So they see you as somebody sharing morals and principles, especially since we have the sign of Saturn here. The planet's not sign, the planet Saturn here. So the planet Saturn here connects directly to moral and principles along with the Jupiterian energy. But the difference between Saturn and Jupiter is Saturn is a judge. Jupiter is like, hey, I'm telling you these are the rules and this is what I think is kind of morally possible, and you have a choice to follow it or not follow it or something. Saturn's like, here are the rules, and if you don't follow it, there are going to be consequences. So you can look at Saturn as the planet of consequences, responsibilities, duties. So it's bringing a lot more restrictions onto someone, and Jupiter's going to bring expansions. So Saturn is a little bit more, it can be a little bit more anxiety producing or fear producing. And is also the planet that I've seen, besides Mercury, that is most connected to power and authority. So I've mentioned this before in another video, but I've done some studies, and my current study, one of them has to do with more adult work. So like, you know, only, you know, if you adult websites and stuff like that, and adult workers. Another thing has to do with politicians, etc. And one planet those two things have in common, whether it be those adult industries and those politician industries and positions of power, is the planet Saturn. So it really has to do with power, money, and, you know, sexuality as well. So something that the point is, something that they'll like about you is obviously going to be your sense of authority, as well as maybe how you express your sexuality in a sense. So I just found it interesting, the planet Saturn really connected to those. But Saturn really does have to do with power. And one thing that you see, I think they said this in the movie, was what was that movie? No, it's the TV show, House of Cards. And there's that one scene where they said, you know, I'm trying to rephrase this. He was getting together with this reporter, Zoe, the main guy who plays the guy who knocks on the door, or knocks on the desk. He said, intimacy, or he didn't phrase it that way, isn't about, you know, intimacy, it's about power. And nothing says that more than the planet Saturn, where it's how they're connecting, how these people are communicating in these adult industries is not about them receiving gratification physically. It's about power, and it's about control. And that is the main thing those two industries have in common: power and control. You're controlling people's, you know, fantasies, you're controlling their minds, and you are controlling their bodies, their money, whatever. That's the whole point about the planet Saturn, and that's how it's a little bit different than Jupiter. So they're gonna like your sense of control, is basically what I'm saying. I go on a little tangent to you probably learned a little bit too much about it, but basically they're gonna like that you have a strong sense of control over yourself, your environment, your morals, and just your everyday life. Five of Pentacles here. What I get here when it's usually somebody who likes something about someone is usually they like that they're a little bit more humble. They're not someone who's going to, you know, brag on themselves a lot. You're not going to be someone that they see as big-headed or who's inconsiderate of other people. And not only that, another thing I get about this, similar to the Emperor energy, is that you're a little bit of an outsider, which means you're somebody who does their own thing, that is a little bit, that's separate from society. So you're forming your own thoughts, your own opinions, your own morals, your own style. I've gotten this card to describe just how people dress. Like if I see, like if somebody's dressed like very gothic, so it's like, okay, this is not the super norm. It's not weird or anything like that, but it's not the norm. Most people aren't dressing very gothic. So I've gotten to describe people's styles that are a little bit outside of everyday society. I've gotten to describe people's belief systems that are a little bit outside of everyday society. So this could be somebody who's like, oh, I believe in I mean, there's so many different belief systems, so I don't want to even name anything, but they believe in some sort of belief systems a little bit different than most people. And I think the most popular belief systems are like Islam, Christianity, Judaism. Those are like one of the most popular ones. So this would be a little bit less popular, where they have their own sort of belief system thing going on like that. So that is something that they like about you. They like that you're not someone who just does what they're told, who follows the crowd, and who believes everything that somebody or someone tells them, okay? You're someone who just very independent in that way, okay? And they may just like that you're not very lavish with your money, even if you have it. They may feel like, oh, this person just it's kind of a little kind of cheap or something like that. Like they feel like you don't spend a lot. You're like, coffee is $5, I'm not spending that, I'm spending $2 or something like that. So they may like that you aren't wild with your money. So that is the things that they find like really desirable about you. Obviously, I mentioned your sexuality and how you carry yourself is very, very important to this person. But that's why those are the main things that are like drawing you in. Obviously, with the Ace of Pentacles, it's going to be physical features. If I had to say one thing that was physical feature, it would definitely be the main focus would be the face. And with Saturn's usually like your bones or your bone structure. So it's either going to be like muscle, abs and stuff like that, or arms. I mean, Saturn's just muscle in general. It could be your teeth. That's very Saturn connected. And it can be your face structure. So a lot of Saturnian people will have very strong jaw lines, face bones, high cheekbones, and stuff like that. It's very obvious when somebody's very Saturnian. They just have like very defined faces. So that is what I have for you, pile number 2. That's what makes you irresistible to this person, and that's who this person is. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys next time. Au revoir. Hey, pile number 3, let's get started on who finds you irresistible, and then we're going to get into why. So we have the Page of Wands and the 6 of Wands. Then we have the 7 of Cups, the 8 of Cups, the Queen of Wands, and Gemini, I think. Okay? So I'm not going to read my normal elements today just because the way I've set it up is a little bit different. But so what we have here with the Page of Wands and the 6 of Wands is we have somebody who's very confident. And with the Page of Wands energy, it's interesting because they may be overly confident when it comes to just who they are as a person. So it'll come off charming, but at the same time, this person isn't as, I don't know what the word for it. They may think they're like all that, but they're not as, I guess, amazing as they think they are. Even though they're great, they have a lot of good qualities to them, okay? It's just that the Page of Wands is a person who is very impulsive, who's not as skilled, who doesn't have as many responsibilities, and therefore they don't know the true extent of what it takes to, I guess, take on something that's very demanding or being responsible for other people. It's like the difference between like a 5-year-old and a parent, okay? And then having those kids, having those responsibilities, having a job, having to take care of the place you live, having bills to pay, versus a 5-year-old who may just have to like go to school or something like that. So this person doesn't have a lot of responsibilities, but they feel confident in who they are as a person. They are willing to put themselves out there. They're willing to take a lot of risks, take a lot of chances. And with this Page of Wands energy, they are very enthusiastic and they are very excitable. This is the type of person who they're not going to hold back on when they feel happy and sad. Like, Wands definitely rule passion, and when you think about passionate people, they're kind of loud, they're boisterous, they're outgoing, they say how they feel, they're like, oh my gosh, that's the best thing ever. So they don't hold back on when they're like excited about something or when something upsets them, and I can't stand that they did this, this, and this, and this, and why does this have to happen, you know what I mean? Very passionate energy. So that is what the type of person who finds you very irresistible. And then at the same time, they also have a lot of admirers themselves, and they may be sort of accomplished in what they do, but it's very like early stages. I've gotten pages to mean that this person, it's not even like they may have a, it's not even like they may have a low paying job. It's more like they may be early on in their career and they have a lot more to go. So they could be highly successful, but they could be like just, they have a lot more potential. So it would be like, oh, Bill Gates made his first million or something like that. But obviously he's like a billionaire now, okay? So some people are going to have more opportunities than others, right? So here are the things that why this person thinks you're irresistible and what they like about you. We have the 7 of Cups. So right off the bat is they like that you have this large imagination. You probably have a lot of suitors yourself, a lot of people interested in yourself. There's one thing I've noticed is people do tend to like people who are desired by other people. So this person likes that other people are drawn into you. Another thing that this means is you may have a lot of hobbies. I've gotten the Seven of Cups to mean somebody who has just a lot of different interests and hobbies and areas of life that they're into. So you could be somebody who is into bowling, as well as somebody who's into writing, as well as somebody who is into painting, as well as somebody who likes to work out. Like, it's just somebody who just has a lot of hobbies or interests, as well as it could be someone who is, they like to think about different fantasies. They like to bounce ideas off of people. They like to say, oh, what if this possibility, or what if we did this thing, and this idea is out there, and this thing I can do, and what if this happened in this situation, and you know, etc. like that. So they'll like that you have this open mindset to all the possibilities and where things can go in the future. Eight of Cups here is very clear to me. It's saying that they like that you don't stick into situations which are not good for you, which are not toxic for you, and you don't stay in this indecisive Seven of Cups phase. You don't stay in this phase of like, let me watch this show, but also I want to watch this show. You make that decision. So they like that you go through all the options. You look at the good and the bad, and you decide this is what I want to do and this is what I want to go for. So it is that decisiveness, or that ability to, I guess, go through everything and treat everything fairly. Whether that's like restaurants, choosing a restaurant, choosing what to eat, whether that's choosing a clothing item, you're looking at, is this practical to wear these boots? Can I wear this thing? They like that you go through, and you give everything like sort of like a fair chance. Like, that's the vibe that they get from you. And they like the, you know, that decisiveness, which makes sense because we have this Queen of Wands energy here. So for you, they see you as this Queen of Wands person, somebody who encourages other people, as well as you have a lot of confidence within yourself. Now, this could be a quiet confidence. This could be a boisterous, loud confidence. It doesn't matter. It just implies that they see you as somebody who takes on a leadership position, and you don't let others kind of push you around. You'll stand up for yourself. Definitely got the Queen of Wands for that. That's somebody who speaks their mind. And it's also somebody who is willing to be like the first one to sort of like answer and put their voice out there, which makes sense because we have Gemini, I think. So they like that you express yourself. They like that you're good at communicating what it is that you're thinking, your ideas, your passions, your interests. They like that you or somebody who likes to have a good time. You're not just work, work, work all the time, especially since we don't have any pentacles here. For them, they don't see you as somebody who's just like very monotonous and routine. They see you as somebody who can be very spontaneous, somebody who's willing to try different things, somebody who can be a little bit unpredictable. We can get that sometimes with this Gemini and Queen of Wands energy, and somebody who can keep other people on their toes. But let me reinforce that more with this Gemini nature, because if there's one thing I know about Gemini, especially in Vedic astrology, Gemini is that sign placement in which people have to, what's the word? It's not regenerate, but they have to constantly reinvent themselves. It's that sign placement of reinvention, as well as there's a reason Gemini is called I think, because it is the birthplace of analytical thought. It's the birthplace of sort of really stepping back, not completely being self-aware, but you start to think about your environment and people around you, and you start to make decisions. Early on in Gemini and Mrigashira, it can be a little bit impulsive, and if you're like a person who has placements in Mrigashira, major placements, that probably won't happen till later in age, where you start to really start to think hard about stuff and be like, I see a pattern here. It can happen earlier, but it's usually kind of treacherous. But really, Gemini becomes about understanding your social environment more so than self-awareness. You start to see, this is how I fit in with this group of people. These are the expectations these people have about me. This is what my family thinks of me. This is what my neighbors think of me. This is what this person do. You start to categorize people in order to move in the world and to gain success. So they like that you are able to pick up on not only social cues of other people, but social hierarchies. They like that you are very aware of the people around you, and you understand, at least on some sort of surface level, who they are, things about them as a person. Gemini is all about taking in information, which is why it's about the sign of reinvention, because with each passing day and each thing they learn, they sort of take on bits of that persona, or they may tuck it away for like another day, a rainy day. That's another important thing that I've noticed with Gemini, as well as like some things having to do with like reflecting on the past. Okay, that's another thing. Actually, that's all Mars placements that in Gemini, but in particularly with Gemini, I've noticed movies about time travel, and particularly time travel into the past. So there is that thought being form of reflection. So they like that you reflect on your actions, basically. You're not someone who will always continuously do the same thing over and over again. You're going to switch it up. And that, to me, them makes them irresistible. They like that you maybe change your hair, or change your wardrobe, or you talk about different things, or you know a lot about different subjects, or you are able to pick up on small details about people. That's something for them that really draws them into you, as well as obviously in Gemini, it's seen as like the birthplace of seduction as well, which is why it's connected to the Lovers card. So they'll definitely like the fact that you have a lot of sex appeal. But I have noticed with Gemini, it's not always aware of that. Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It just depends, okay? But that's one thing that they like about you. You're naturally going to have that sexual presence, okay? So that is all I have to say for you, pal number 3. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe. And sorry that cut off my camera battery died, but that's okay because I still got your reading out there. This person really likes a lot of things about you, and particularly they like that you may be a little bit hard to, I guess, read in a sense. Not in a mysterious way, but more so they don't know what you're going to say or what you're going to do next, and they like that. That's exciting for them. Alright, so I'm going to close out this reading. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you next time. Au revoir. Hey, pal number 4, we're going to find out what makes you so irresistible, or who thinks you're so irresistible as well. So who this person is, we have the 5 of Wands and the 7 of Pentacles. We have the Knight of Swords. We have the Hanged Man, we have the 10 of Wands, and we have Neptune Sacrifice. First things first, let's see who this person is with this 5 of Wands and the 7 of Pentacles. What I get from this person is they can be very competitive, and this can also mean somebody who can be very, sometimes it's jealousy, and sometimes it's somebody who can be a little bit of a hater, but I doubt that. It's probably just saying that this person is either competitive or athletic, as well as this person is always trying to look for maybe different streams of income, trying to increase their wealth, trying to increase their value, or looking for things to invest in. They're always thinking of like keeping up with the Joneses, or trying to, maybe not even trying to be as show-offish, or like trying to get like, you know, I don't even know what's popular right now. They're Louis Vuitton bags. They may just be trying to, you know, up their income or reach their goals or something like that. But that's something that's important. Another thing I can interpret this as is somebody maybe having a very chaotic family. That's something that's possible, where they have to be very careful about how they move around their family, maybe sometimes friends, but that's something that can be drawn in from these cards. I can also say that this person may have a toxic work environment. But overall, that's generally them. They're definitely someone who is going to try to be very clever about how they go about, you know, competing in the world, or going about going against other people. Like if there's a job, this person is going to probably do some heavy research on the company in order to stand out and to do interviews, probably make their resume look like very creative, may come up with some business cards, may have some sort of tips and tricks on how to do that. This can also be someone who is very, very careful about how they choose their friends. So it can be somebody who's kind of guarded in that sense. Normally, if I just had the 5 of Wands alone, you know, that's always like an ego battle. But since it's next to the 7 of Pentacles, this is somebody who picks and chooses their battles. They're not just a hothead person. Okay, so definitely not hot-headed, but they're not afraid to speak their mind, and they're not afraid to have a little bit of competition. In fact, they may like it, especially if this 5 of Wands came up first. That may be somebody who just, that's how they get their boost in life. That's how they feel good. They're like, I love having a little bit of competition. It pushes me to move forward. And what this lets me know is this person may also have a lot of suitors too, because sometimes we get the 5 of Wands to represent a lot of people kind of wanting somebody's attention. And then this could be them like trying to figure out, who do I invest my time in? Who do I choose? Like, who do I spend time with? So you could be, so somebody who finds you irresistible could be somebody who generally has a lot of people pursuing them. Okay, that could be also another interpretation, or it could just be somebody who has a lot of jobs pursuing them. That's something too. So it could just mean this person is very high achieving and a lot of people, jobs kind of reach out to them. Another thing that this would indicate is like somebody who's going to be careful about what they put in their body, as well as somebody who's probably going to have a strong workout routine. And I say that because with the 5 of Wands, I do get that for athleticism as sometimes. And the 7 of Pentacles, I get that for somebody who's like very particular about what they eat. They may weigh their food. They may measure things out. They may count calories. That's something that could be like they're really focused on fitness. So that's another interpretation for who this person is. Personality wise, like I said, there's somebody who's really going to think about picking and choosing their battles. It's not like this person isn't courageous, because they can be if they want to be. And there's someone who's going to really think about when they want to I guess strike. I don't know, like planned attack or something. Like this is like a sneak attack type of person if they were to do some sort of thing like that. Okay, I'm not saying that that's their personality. I can't say that they're laid back either. They're probably very busy, because when I get this 5 of Wands, I get that to mean somebody who has a lot of things that they need to do in a short amount of time. Okay, so this person definitely has a busy schedule. I'm trying to think of anything I could say in regards to their personality. They're not uppity, if that's like, they're not gonna stick their nose up at people. They're not like classist or something like that, or I don't get a lot of prejudice. Especially 5 of Wands is like everyone's on the equal playing field, so they treat everyone pretty much equally. Okay, that's something that you may notice about them. So what they find irresistible about you is, obviously what's going to be important is how you speak to them. So they're going to like that you come off very witty and very playful. That's something with the Knight of Swords that I've noticed. And also with this card, the main thing that I've noticed with the Knight of Swords is they can sort of like talk too much, or they don't say enough. So your communication style to them can be like, whoa, this person's, you know, giving me a lot of information right now, or this person is really not telling me anything. They can be like very kind of guarded, or they just don't feel like talking that day or something like that. I've gotten that for the Knight of Swords, but they really like the fact that you have a good sense of humor. That's important to them. And that just the way you think may be very youthful in a sense. Okay, so I get the Knight of Swords to be somebody who's going to keep up with not everything in pop culture, because they're not like the Page of Swords, that they're going to be a little bit more informed with that, but they're going to keep up with certain things, and they're going to know enough information. So that's something that they'll like about you, that you stay attuned to, you know, the social happenings of the world. Another thing that's going to make you irresistible is there may be a sense of, see, I feel like you may lean more so on the quiet side, more so than the talkative side, only because we got the Hangman, and I get the Hangman to mean like silence, resting, quiet, okay? And then Neptune, they could be talkative or not talkative. It's not really like Neptunian energy to be quiet or not quiet. Really, one thing, they'll probably more than likely not be described as talkative, but they're not quiet people either, so to have Neptune energy. Neptune energy I get for being somebody who's like a reluctant leader, like they don't want to be there, but they've been given an opportunity to shine, but they're like, I don't want this responsibility. That's a common thing I've seen with people with strong Neptune placements, or they feel like they have to rise up to leadership because otherwise it's just not going to work out given the circumstances and the people around. So they're kind of like, I guess reluctant leader is the best way to describe it. People who have those strong placements. They never want to lead, but they always get into those positions. So they see you in that way where they're like, this person's a good leader, even if they're reluctant. They're the best person for the job because they're going to be the most honest and they're going to be the most morale. That is a theme that I've noticed with people with strong Neptunian energy. You could look at, you know, books, shows, people's writings. People who have strong Neptunian energy, and I mean like Sun conjunct Neptune, Neptune in the ascendant, Neptune conjunct Moon. This theme of being good, being moral, following the rules, doing what's right is a common theme, which I did not expect when I was studying Neptune. So, but it's there. It makes sense because it does connect to Pisces, and Pisces does have to do with morality in a sense because it has to do with kind of like judgment. But that's another story for another day. I mean, I guess it's not another story for another day because we have the Hangman that connects to Pisces as well. So it's a story for today. Basically, they'll like your sense of morality. That is what makes you desirable to them, where they feel like you're not going to be the type of person who chooses to make bad decisions that are harmful. You may make mistakes because we have the Knight of Swords here, and you may say the wrong thing sometimes, but you're somebody who is definitely going to, you know, take that in and reflect on it and improve, okay? That is very Neptune energy. And then also there may be a sense of mystery that draws in this person, a sense of like some sort of fantasy or feeling like you seem like mystical in a sense in that way. Another thing is you can be very open with how you feel. That's for some people, obviously not all, but I have noticed that with Neptunian and the Hangman energy. It's like everything's just out there laid to bear for the world to see, or at least not for the world to see, but it's there. It's like the energy is like you can't miss it. I don't even know how to explain that. Like you literally just bare your soul for, you know, whoever's present, okay? Not all the time, but it does get out there eventually. That's another theme I've noticed that. So they may feel like you're very open and honest, and that to them is going to be very desirable. With the 10 of Wands, I usually get that card if someone just thinks you're hot stuff, like especially in this type of reason where someone thinks you're desirable, so you just look good to them. Neptunian energy, I think I talked about this in the beauty videos, where they can be known for being like a pretty face, or at least they can come and look put together and end up looking sort of glamorous in a sense. That's something that becomes a theme for Neptunian people that I have noticed. It's just about like, it's not all about glamour, but something about the face it draws people in. Okay, that's the one thing that I want to say about Neptunian people. They don't have to be the most beautiful people. Not saying that you're not the most beautiful person, but something about your face is going to draw people in a positive way. So that is what is being put out there. It just becomes like very likable. That's the thing that I've noticed. It's a likable face. Okay. Or very marketable for some people. Okay. I know Marilyn Monroe had this. I'm trying to think of anyone else. Did Billie Holiday have this? No, I think she had Uranus in the ascendant. So who else has this? I'm trying to think of people, but my mind's going blank. But basically, that becomes something that draws people in. Also, it can be good for like aging. So they may feel like you're somebody who like ages well. Okay. Another thing we have with the 10 of Wands is they may feel like you're helping other people. So they're like, wow, this person's not only taking on their own responsibilities, but they're willing to help other people and take on their needs, even when they can't, even when they're so busy and tired, they're still going for it. And that to them could be very attractive. So your work ethic. So this person obviously is a person who doesn't like lazy people. They also may like that you seem very worldly. That's another thing that happens with the Hangman. I've gotten that card to mean travel or going to different places, or seeing different cultures or seeing different things. Another thing with these two energies, they may like that you're into mysticism, that you're into things that are not of the norm, or that you're spiritual, you're into otherworldly things, you're into other you're into your connection with the divine. That's another thing that I've noticed with this energy. There's a connection to something higher, something that goes beyond, and that is something that will appeal to this type of person. And talking about mystical subjects and talking about things that seem like impossible is going to really make you irresistible to this person. So having that open mindset is really drawing this person in. Okay, so that is everything I have for you, pal number 4. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's clear to you on what that makes you so irresistible. Definitely you're a very charming person with this 10 of Wands energy. So you just got sex appeal there. That's something that's there, okay? So I will see you guys next time. Hopefully, I hope you liked the reading, and au revoir. Okay, pal number 5, let's get into who finds you irresistible and why. We have the Queen of Cups. We have the Ace of Wands. We have the Knight of Cups. We have the Four of Pentacles, the Judgment card, and Mars Force. Interesting. Okay. So when it comes to who this person is, we have someone who is going to be... I'm going to choose to read all these cards upright because that's how I've been doing it so far. But so we have someone who's going to be very open, usually about how they feel in a sense. And this is someone who's definitely going to be feelings based. How do I explain that? That's someone who is, if you ask them how their day was, what they said, I feel like the day's going well. I feel like I've had, you know, some good, you know, moments, some time for some calm, versus someone who may be a little bit more logic based, where they may start off the day and say, how do you feel? You feel like they might say something, I think I got a lot of things done today. It's not really telling you how they feel. They're just kind of like list things and stuff. So this person is very in touch with their emotions and, you know, all the waves and different patterns that they go through. And they're, for the most part, they are emotionally stable. Now, they may be a person who is not only in touch with how they feel, but there is a strong passion within them. This is someone who has a little bit of spice to their character, okay? So this, I get this Ace of Wands I get this Ace of Wands card to mean someone who can be a little bit out there, who can be very creative, who can just really stand out in a crowd, someone who really speaks their mind, who can be very opinionated, who can be a tough cookie, okay? So they, you know, they may talk soft, but they carry a big stick, right? Who said that? Was it Theodore Roosevelt? So that's them in a nutshell. Now, the reasons that this person finds you irresistible is for many, many reasons. Number one, they kind of like that you're a little bit reserved in a sense. When I get the Four of Pentacles, I usually get that card to be someone who's, you could say standoffish, but sometimes it's just shy. So in this case, I'm sure they just like that you are very reserved. I don't know if that's with your wardrobe or with your personality, and maybe you're just someone who holds their tongue. This doesn't look like to be their character. They're not the type of person who's going to hold their tongue or hold back what they say. They will definitely put whatever feelings they have out there. They'll probably try to rephrase it in the best way possible because they are a little bit more mature in terms of their emotional state and awareness, but they do just have that impulse to just speak their mind. So they're gonna like the qualities about you. They're like, man, I wish sometimes I could probably hold my tongue, or I wish I pulled back a little bit as well. So that's something that's really gonna draw them in. With Mars here, Mars is a planet that pretty much, I'm not gonna say it rules over sexuality, but it is probably the strongest connecting planet to sexuality. There's Mars, there's Venus, Saturn connects in a sense from what I've seen. Like if I look up a bunch of Mars ruled movies, like I know that I'm gonna see a lot of things that have to do with like violence, and a lot of things have to do with sexuality. That's just going to come up. And by Mars ruled, I mean like people who have strong planetary placements that connect to Mars, whether that's like Mars conjunct your moon, or Mars in your ascendant, or Mars conjunct your sun, or even having like Mars even like conjunct a Venus. If it's a strong conjunction to a planet, I would say that's a strong Mars aspect. And then also we have Mars ruled nakshatras, which are like different planetary placements. So like Dhanishta, Mrigashira, and Chitra. And those are, you can look up those placements on your own free time. I'm not going to get into the long video on that, but when it comes to that, it's like saying when you have those placements, you have a strong sense of sexuality. You can think of Mars ruled people, so Marilyn Monroe, Kim Kardashian, Megan Thee Stallion, I don't know, does Cardi B have, Doja Cat definitely is, I think she's Chitra. So anybody who's gonna have a strong, like, really push their sexuality out there in the media is going to be like the forefront of sexuality, okay? So they like that, how you express your sexuality. They like your, I guess, sex appeal in a sense, whatever. And then we have this Knight of Cups energy. So something about you is very sweet, very open, very doe-eyed. They like that about you. You may be a bit of a romantic. You may be somebody who just has a open mind when it comes to dating, or maybe you're just have your heart on your sleeve, and that's what really draws this person into you, is that sense of almost naivety, but it's really just like keeping a very optimistic outlook despite, you know, the comings and goings and all the craziness that can come with dating and romance. They see that you're someone who really just puts themselves out there and goes for it. And you may come off to them like you aren't an experienced dater, because when I get the Knight of Cups, that's someone who makes a lot of mistakes when it comes to relationships and romance. So they may see that you could make a few mistakes or get in some situations that aren't ideal, and that to them could be like appealing to your charm, because they see that you are at least trying, okay? So, and not only that, but it's not in just a romantic sense. The Knight of Cups I get for somebody who's just generally a friendly person and really wants to get to know different people. And so that to them is very appealing to you and your personality. The fact that you can be so open and willing to accept new people coming in and willing to forge intimate connections and be open and honest about who you are. And you are definitely putting your feelings out there, especially with this Knight of Cups energy. They I'm not going to say they're the best communicators of their feelings, but I'll say they get the emotion out there, okay? With Mars I also want to say that this can bring some sort of impulsiveness, and I only mention that because the Knight of Cups and Mars can both be impulsive in that sense. So there may be like this spontaneous nature to you that really draws this person in, which makes sense because they have the Ace of Wands. So they themselves are going to look for spontaneity in the people that they desire, or at least a willingness to, I guess, push yourself out there, be creative, to try different things, to take on different tasks, to just venture ahead. Whenever I get like strong fire sign energy, if you think about it in terms of Vedic astrology, what's a good example? Like Steven Spielberg would be strong fire sign energy in Vedic astrology. I believe he's like something with Mula, either Sun and Mula or Mula rising. And that's a fire, Mula falls into the fire sign of Sagittarius in Vedic astrology. And what you'll notice about Mula and in other situations with other placements, when there is something unknown in a movie by a director of some other placement, it's like seen as like dark and mysterious, and it's kind of scary. But when you see something unknown in a Steven Spielberg movie, it's like seen as like this bright light, like E.T., a spaceship, like it's glowing, it's like shiny. Like Jurassic Park was like this big opening, it's broad daylight, it just came off very beautiful, and then it turned kind of disastrous. But but that's the way fire sign energy thinks. They see something new, they see something foreign, and they run to it, versus other placements which may be a little bit more standoffish. So they like that about you. They like that you see something you haven't seen before, and instead of being a little bit wary or scared, you're a little bit more excited and happy to see it. Okay? And then we have Judgment here. So this card is all about forgive and forget, okay? As well as a few other things, but for the most part, they see that you don't hold on to grudges or hold on to negative energy. You like to keep things positive. Now, this doesn't mean that you completely forget about the past, because one thing I know about the planet Mars is it does connect to the past, in particular past traumas, but we're not going to get into that really right now. But really, it's just saying even though you have all these scars and these things that have affected you, you're not going to let that drag you down, and you're not going to stay in that moment. You're going to take those hurts and those pains, and you're going to transform that into something that can be beautiful or useful, or that into something else that's more positive, okay? So you're not going to stay in that anger or that upsettedness or in those moments, okay? And it can be hard to get out of that way of thinking, but they see you as somebody who is really putting in the mental and emotional work to try to get to that place, or if you're already at that place, to try to stay in that place. That is something that they'll 100% like about you. So they see that you are willing to change, willing to transform, and you don't want to repeat the same habits, and you don't want to make assumptions about people. That's another thing about that fire energy. They don't want to just assume that just because something horrible happened with, you know, somebody who may have had characteristics like the person you may have hurt you in the past, they don't want to just push those characteristics onto new people, okay? So they like that you take a fresh start with things, that you know, have an even playing field with situations, environments, or people. That's how they see you, at least, and that is really going to be desirable traits for them, okay? And then also Pluto does connect again to sexuality, so obviously that they definitely find you very, very appealing in that way. And I don't know if there's anything about your appearance, but maybe you're somebody who can completely transform your appearance. One thing I've seen with Mars women, Mars men are a little bit more consistent with their appearance. I mean, Mars is a planet that has to do with your physical body, and so obviously Mars ruled people have one of the biggest transformations when it comes to appearance. Same with Saturnian people, I've noticed. So just the malefics can really have really huge upheavals when it comes to their appearance. Mars people tend to sort of carry on more fat, so there is a tendency to need to have to move a lot and work out a lot, or to not eat a lot if you're a Mars ruled person. So they may, what I'm basically trying to say is they may like that you're able to go from one look to another look. Like it's basically not in terms of, it could be in terms of weight loss or weight gain or muscle gain, but really what I'm trying to say, how it connects to a change in wardrobe style, upgrade, downgrade, whatever you want to, however you want to view it, from glamour to not so glamorous is basically what I'm trying to say. So they'll like the fact that you can have these extreme looks. Most Mars people that I've seen, they really just kind of like to glam it up for camera. Like if you kind of meet Mars ruled women in particular, if you see them in their homes, they're going to be a little bit more dressed down, which I guess it's normal, but some people like to be a little bit more glamorous, even at home. Like if you get into like the K2 and the Rahu placements, they can be glamour all the time, okay? But the Mars replacements, the girls can tend to be kind of like tomboyish. They're like, I want jeans and a sweatshirt when I'm at home. They'll own like 20,000 hoodies. But then when there's time for them to like shine and be on camera, they're like, okay, I gotta step it up. I gotta step it up. Now, if they have other placements, then they'll be like on 10 all the time, or they'll be a little bit more relaxed in their appearance. It just really just depends. But for the most part, they're gonna like the fact that you can switch looks in that sense. And really, they really like that you're disconcerting. So it's like saying that they like that you are open to meet new people, but you know when to, like, you know, cut it off and say, hey, this isn't it. These are my boundaries, and I don't think this is acceptable, okay? So that's really appealing to them about you. That's really why they find you kind of irresistible and highly desirable as a person. I'm trying to think if there's anything else you need to know about this person. You know, they're probably going to have a good amount of friends, okay? I would say it's more of a smaller circle, but they're gonna have a good amount of friends. In terms of their career, with any wand energy, is gonna be highly ambitious. They may even be doing something that's a little bit different than most people, because we have the Ace of Wands, so it's like brand new, something different. So they may have a job or something like that, or that's different, or it's just saying that they're very independent. So you got a person who's very independent energy who finds you highly desirable. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Very expressive person. Okay, so this is not a quiet person at all. Highly expressive. So that is what I have for you, pile number 5. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram and all that good stuff. And I cannot wait to see you guys next reading. Au revoir.